with us in studio. He's going to be at the Improv show tonight. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 1 show on Sunday.
He's never been here before.
I know.
And we've been doing this for so long. This is our 10th year of podcasting. Where now we're like, oh yeah, we've talked to that person before, but we've never talked to you, and we've always wanted you to come in here, but then something happens. Like one of us gets sick.
You know, I think last year you were in town. We were doing our cruise.
That's right.
And then we missed you. And then was it 2 years ago? There was something else. But
I know he's really concerned about why we miss him. I can tell behind the glasses he's concerned. But Gary Owen's here.
Yeah. How you doing, Gary?
Good.
And that's it.
Can you imagine?
1, 2, 2, 1.
The comedian that doesn't want to be here. How's it going, Gary? Good.
We get those guys, you know, time and time again. We get a guy like we got a guy that it wasn't that he didn't want to be here, but he was just tired. He took the red eye. What was that? Leonard Oots? Am I saying his name right?
I think.
And he fell asleep right there. He just, in mid interview. He's just
been there, man. I think all the years I've been doing stand up, there's only been one where I completely missed. It was my fault. I went out too late. Partied too hard, and I still was in denial and tried to blame the club. Yeah. Because I was in Cincinnati, and it was when Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson had the reality show.
Oh, yeah.
And they invited me. They were filming in Cincy, and they invited me to you guys shut that? Outside noise.
Yeah, he's gonna
talking too loud, Brad.
This is how
Brad. You talking too loud?
This is how
Brad. I was in the middle of a great story.
This is how professional we are.
Right.
We have to. Tom has to go. There he goes.
It was all over Tom's face. Tom was like, "Yo, I'm getting distracted."
Well, only because I keep one ear out, so then I was like,
"That's your fault, though."
Yeah,
motherfucker.
That's
not their fault.
I heard it.
I know.
But I went out and partied till because MTV had an open bar.
Yeah.
And I just remember when I woke up. The manager that was taking me to press was pounding on my hotel door. And I literally answered the door in my underwear. I was like, "Where you been? I've been waiting on you." Look, keep in mind, bloodshot eyes, bad head. He just looked at me. He goes, "No, you weren't."
Yeah.
He was so matter of fact, like, "No, you weren't. Just get dressed."
But only to miss one media, and you've been doing this a long time. It's pretty impressive. I figured most comedians the grind of the road is hard. To me it seems like really hard for every weekend, and you're doing media, and then I'm sure we joke around all the time. Like some of the media you do, you're like, why am I even here? This is not selling tickets. Like I know some comedians.
You might be thinking that right now. I hope not.
Well, later. No, but they sold me on you guys because literally I go podcast. Because you don't want to show up and you're at somebody's kitchen.
You know
what I mean?
That's the thing we always use. It's the kitchen table.
Yeah.
It's the Yeti, the blue mic. You know, the USB. You plug it in.
Yeah.
And no offense to those guys. I mean, God bless anybody who tries to do some podcasting, but I mean, we had to build something better, because we got like people coming in here.
We literally, that's why, we came from the radio world, and we knew we have to build a professional studio because of the stigma podcast has, although it's lessening now, because they're gigantic podcasts that have more listeners than any radio station out there.
Like Rogan's got a compound, Maron's still got his garage, but I mean, like, he's got $1 million worth of equipment in that.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot. I've been doing mine about about a year and a half.
It's called Get Some, right?
Get Some, yeah. Well, we went from just audio to now we transitioned into video eventually.
That's what we're doing now too.
And,
we're on Twitch right now. We have to be.
Yeah, we do. We tape mine, but it's funny. I used to think it was like beneath me.
Yeah.
Just to be honest, I was like this. I go, podcast, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Got too much other stuff.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And then all of a sudden, when somebody broke it down, and they go, Gary, it's basically it's another stream of revenue if you get sponsors, and they go, it's another way for you to get out. And the podcast listeners are different than radio listeners. Like they're a lot more loyal.
They're dedicated. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The engagement level there. Is
my truck driving fan base. Oh, they're skyrocketing. Skyrocketing 18-wheelers,
and they'll do anything for you. You're like, we need to blockade this road, and they're like, we're going.
Yo,
come on, we need a convoy for Gary needs us.
Best thing about 18-wheelers and truck drivers, they buy all your merch.
Yeah.
Because they're in their trucks, so they want that. Yeah, I'll take a T-shirt. I'm still watching DVDs. Really?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I used to buy my DVDs at 10,000 a time. I'd buy 10,000 at one buy.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you mean 10,000?
Well, no, he's
I buy my own DVDs.
Yeah.
My specials I sell on the road.
What'd you think? Like his collection?
No.
Oh my God.
The DVDs I sell after my show.
How many movies you watch, bro?
No, the DVDs I sell after my show, I used to buy them 10,000 at a time. Right.
Okay.
It's been probably 2 years since I've had to reorder
because
people aren't buying DVDs anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm down to literally on that line, my last like 400 out of that, and I just like, and every now and then somebody goes, DVDs. But I'd be like, yeah, the DVD. I'm literally like, can't wait till these last 400 gone. But it's almost like a contest now. Like, let me see how many I sell this weekend, just to see who's still buying a DVD.
It is weird because
people give me CDs now. Bands come in here and they'll give me a CD, and I'm like, I don't know what to fucking do.
We don't even have a CD player in the studio.
Yeah. Right.
Also, I don't have a DVD
we do
player.
have one, but it's broken. It's my old iMac.
You'll buy like a concert ticket for something, and then they'll mail you a CD, and I'm like, I don't want this. Just listen to it on Spotify.
You know what's sad though is they send you the CD now, and they send the little piece of paper inside, and you take the piece of paper out, and it's like, here's your digital download code, and I just take this hunk of plastic that they made. It's got art and everything, and I just fucking shit pun it into the trash, and I just take this little code, and I go there, and it's like, I don't know, I feel guilty doing that. You know, like that's not helping the earth.
Well, Gary, you've been in this business long enough to see the transition into like digital media and on demand,
social media, the implications there, and you know.
And you've seen like back, I'm not too familiar with it, but it seemed like back in the day there was like a certain path to try to get specials on TV, is like Comedy Central and the Showtime and HBO, and like you were trying to get your hour special. Now it's kind of like the floodgates have opened where there's some like Netflix is just pumping out specials like crazy, and then and now people are self-releasing stuff, and if you got an audience out there, you release your own special and then charge for it for yourself, produce it yourself and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that it's because there was a vetting process back in the day, like you had to go through, and like getting a special was special, for lack of a better term, and now it's kind of like everybody's doing it. Do you think it dilutes the whole stand-up comedy scene to a certain amount? Like, do you think they're giving away too many specials and people are doing them too often?
I just think it goes in cycles. Everything's in a cycle, and just like Showtime used to be having way too many specials, and now they've cut back. They do like one a month now, and it's hard to put your finger on it, man. I always think the ones that are supposed to be on the top, they're supposed to be there for a reason, and you can even people with 100 specials, but you can still only name probably 10 of them that you really resonated with, and that's thank God I've resonated enough in my career that people are still watching, because I Netflix has always said no to me. I still haven't got a Netflix special.
I don't understand.
And they never give me a concrete reason. I don't get frustrated. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
But I got a great relationship with Showtime. And even though, like you say, I always be putting bits on YouTube and stuff that are current because you never know what's going to go viral. But there's still nothing like that feeling of you got the phone call going, you got a special, and then it airs. It's still something about seeing yourself on TV is different than seeing yourself on a laptop or on somebody's phone. It still is a rush. I don't get a rush when I put a bit on YouTube. You're just like, oh, hopefully people watch it.
Yeah.
There's a rush when you because I'm taping my next one June 7th in San Antonio for Showtime.
Nice. Congrats. That's cool, man.
Thanks, but I'm just now my juices are flowing. So I'm like this. Oh, I gotta get ready for that June 7th one now. If I get like the Jussie Smollett thing, that's and Donald Trump, that's like material you want to get out now because it's current.
Yes,
you want to get on YouTube. But you don't get a rush like you do when you get a special.
Yeah.
Well, there's still that feeling. Not to jump into anything like that, but what was your take on Jussie Smollett? What did you? Most of our comedian friends that come in here just fucking went crazy. They're just like, this is insane.
Well, I bit in because I didn't read up. I jumped the gun because all I saw was my Instagram timeline was best wishes for Jussie, and I went, what happened?
Yeah,
and then I said, oh, he got jumped by some racist, and I went on my podcast and defended him. Like, I can't believe this happened. They go and I said, I'm not gonna blame Trump on this one though. I said, because this is just two guys that yelled his name out to get a reaction.
Sure.
Then come to find out the whole thing was set up, and I was like, I should have known. When I saw the Good Morning American view, I knew because I was
with
jumped
the Robin
once.
Roberts,
I got jumped once, and I was so thankful that I didn't get hurt. bad.
Yeah.
When you get jumped and you don't know where the fists are coming, you're like, whoa, you're just happy to be safe.
You
afterwards.
can be killed. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but when he got so the minute he said yes, so he hit me. So I hit his ass back. I was like, that's not the reaction of somebody got jumped. That's not what you say. You know what I mean? And then when he said it's the gay Tupac in concert 3 days after.
When I saw the gay Tupac thing, I'm like,
it's orchestrated.
No.
It's orchestrated.
It's because the implication of getting jumped is that you are just literally protecting your face and people are punching and kicking you. That if
but
not, it's a fight.
We all have that friend that's recounting the fight story, and he's like, you got the black eye or something. He's like, but I got a couple good shots in, and we all know he didn't.
When I got
usually
jumped,
a lie.
When I got jumped, it's weird. When you replay it in your brain, it's like you're watching it. Like when I replay me getting jumped, it wasn't I getting jumped. It's like I'm watching it from a bird's eye view of me getting jumped when I replayed it in my brain. I was just so thankful I didn't get seriously hurt, man. Yeah. It was actually I was at San Diego State and I was in the military. And I went to go watch, I'm dating myself, I went to go watch Sugar Ray Leonard fight Hector Macho Camacho. 1997, right? And I went to this, my buddy was DJing this party for this frat house. So I got there at like 6, West Coast fights come on early. I got there at 6, I went to this one guy's room that was in the frat, watched the fight, my buddy's DJing the party, it's about 11 o'clock, I'm ready to go. My jacket was in this guy's room, but now they got one of the freshmen like plebes that are you can't go back in this part of the house, right?
Yeah. Rules.
I said, hey man, I gotta get my jacket. He goes, yeah, you can't go back there when nobody's not back there. I said, I get it, but can somebody get it? It's cool. He goes, this one guy comes walking out of one of the rooms and like got in this plebe, like, hey plebe, I told you nobody fucking back here, bro. So now the guy yells at me, I told you fucker, nobody back here. Yeah. So his hands are in my face. So I grabbed his arms because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, is he about to hit me? The minute I grabbed his arms, it was fist of fury on me.
Oh, my God.
Every direction I was getting hit. So I grabbed the dude and pulled him in front of me, and he was blocking me. Like, I'm literally in a cross position. I said, don't, and my brain is like, don't go on the ground because you're going to get fucked up. And it would just keep this guy in front of you. And then, like, some cooler heads prevailed, and they was like, hey, stop. And everybody stopped to hit me. But then these two guys were escorting me out of the house, and right on the way out, somebody hit me on the back of the head with a beer can. Full, like, Coors, boom, right? And I go, so now, this is where the story gets interesting. So now I'm standing outside. I still got to get my jacket. It was a leather jacket I paid $300 for.
Yeah, that's an expensive-ass jacket.
I'm like, in my brain, that's like $30,000 back then. So I'm like, still standing out there, like, we're going to call the cops. I said, call them. Like, I wasn't drinking. Call them, right?
Yeah.
So 2 black guys that was on my flag football team in San Diego, they roll up to the party. They're like, Gary, what's up? I go, I just got jumped. I go, what? So now they walk me into the middle of the frat house and goes, who the fuck jumped my homeboy? Who the fuck, right? Yeah. The DJ's a black guy. DJ goes, what? Now he's pissed because he was on my flag football team, right? All the frat guys ran to their rooms like, we didn't know, bro. We didn't know. They're yelling. And then one dude was like, just tell me, I'm waiting to knock somebody out. Just point somebody out. I'm going, no. Let's just get my jacket. So I end up getting my jacket, and it was hysterical because the party was over. The DJ packed up because I got jumped, and the 2 black guys was hysterical. So you got 3 black guys that punked about 200 white dudes.
That's the
frat house in San Diego.
I want to talk. Were you stationed in San Diego in the Navy?
Yeah.
And you did 6 years in the Navy, and
didn't you do boot camp here, right?
Boot camp in Orlando, yeah.
It was probably, was it in Baltimore?
This is the Naval Base.
Yeah, this is the old Naval Base in Orlando.
I felt it. I felt it. I just wanted to get up at 6 a.m. for some reason.
But
this is it.
You think this is probably where they did the boot camp?
It's odd, and I'm not lying. When we pulled up, I remember when this place was getting built.
Yeah.
And 17, 18 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, the
first incarnation of Baldwin
the first
Park.
incarnation would probably be around then.
The first time I came back to Orlando to do stand-up was like 2000.
Yeah.
And I remember my buddy was driving me around. I said, dude, where was the Naval Base? And he drove me over here, and they were building this stuff up. And I remember when the dude was bringing back today, I go, this looks like the area where the Naval Base was at. And now we're in here.
Yeah, the VA is actually still over there.
That's crazy, man.
This may have been the spot where they released the mace canister.
Oh, my God. That was the worst.
I know.
C161 was my company.
All my friends that had to go through that shit, they're like, why did we do this? They're like, I'm going to fucking,
we know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
He's like, there's almost 0% chance I'll ever have to deal with gas, and there's no point in this. He's like, I'm gonna be in fucking radio technician.
Well, you know what's also funny is when you watch these football and basketball and baseball games, and they'll do like these homecomings that always make you cry on YouTube.
Yeah.
Whenever it's a Navy guy, I feel like he shouldn't get it. Because the Marines and Army, like, they're on the front line fighting, grenades dropping. The Navy guys are getting omelets made to order on the show. You know what I mean?
Listen, I can only reference my buddies that have been in the Air Force, right? I got two friends that went to the Air Force. One of them I call the Grizz, and you could
he's the dumbest person. He's a great guy. Yeah, we love the Grizz, but he's so stupid.
But he tells, I'm like, and I tell him, like, people, because when he, like, if he's in uniform, like go on a plane or whatever, everybody like, oh, thank you for your service, you're a hero, and I'm like, don't thank him. Like, he's actually hurt our country more than helped.
Yeah.
He's wasted tons of this
just
taxpayers' money.
Quickly tell Gary what he did with the big radio tower.
No, like he did have to go to Afghanistan. Like he was like doing radio support for like the real heroes, the Marines and stuff. They're actually fighting.
Like you said, the frontline guys.
Yeah.
And I know, like, this is part of it, but anyway, so he had to go, and there was like this $90,000 piece of equipment or whatever, and he was supposed to go retrieve it, then he forgot, and he was like, oh shit, I forgot it back there. They're like, oh fuck it,
too late. Just get in the chopper. He gets there, they fly away. It's like, fuck it, we just let you cause us $90,000 worth of radio equipment.
Yeah. Just, I mean, like, he didn't forget it because of a stressful situation. Just fucking stoner forgot it.
Government waste. He's the guy.
That's funny,
and then he tells me all the time. He's like, they gave me these Kim suits, and they're like $1,500. They give me every year. I'll never use it. It's a complete waste. But anyway, there is a difference, and I agree with these.
Well, right after 9/11, I called some military buddies that I knew, and I said, hey, what can I do to help? And they was like, so I did 6 Navy ships in 6 days in the middle of the Arabian Gulf, right?
Really?
So when I went over there, that's when I was sitting with the captain of one of the aircraft carriers, and he goes, he was so funny. He was like, old school Navy. He goes, dude, we're fucking bulletproof out here. He goes, 6 people have died total in the Navy since all this shit started. And he goes, 6 people die in Detroit every night. Because you're safer out here than you are in the United States, if you think about it. You're safer in the Navy in the Arabian Gulf. He goes, we're bulletproof out here.
Who's going to attack a giant warship? Like, this is not going to happen
poorly.
And then, but if those guys are gone for a year, they'll come back. And they'll get, they'll come on at halftime of the Bucks game and see their 2 daughters. Like, oh my God, Dad, you made it! And the dad's going, I kind of want to go back.
So what after, like, and you were named funniest serviceman, like you won a contest in America.
Okay, let's put it
that's a big deal.
All right, you think I don't think it was a worldwide search. All right, what happened was it was Camp Pendleton in San Diego, and it was a contest. So they pulled they pulled people from every base in the air. There's Air Force Base in California. There's Navy bases, Marine bases. So all the bases had their own contest, and then everyone that won their bases, went to Camp Pendleton. And so there's a Marine guy, an Army guy, there was a Coast Guard. I was the Navy guy, and ended up winning. So I don't think it was like the nationwide everything. It was
whoever was there.
Whoever was there, and there was flyers on the base, and that was the title. I got the plaque where I won.
That's cool.
Well, you'd have to be the most famous comedian that came out of the Navy, right? Is there anybody else that you know of?
That's a good question.
Because then, if that's the case,
was it Arnaz J?
Sinbad, I think, was in Air Force. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Sinbad in Air Force?
Sinbad may have been in the Air Force. Was it Arnaz the one that was doing the nukes?
But he was in the Air Force too.
Okay, he's in the Air Force. Yeah, you might be the Navy guy.
Navy guy might be
the most famous Navy comedian.
And those are all like most of the military guys that we get in here are like super fucking funny. I mean, it'd be really cool to see all of them together again.
The only reason I joined the Navy was because, you go up in a trailer park in Southern Ohio. I mean, the military's looking at me like, we can get to that motherfucker.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But I just wanted a way out.
Yeah,
I was like, God, how am I going to get out of this? I don't want to be stuck in this small town. And
I was going to ask
you about a lot
of
hopelessness, and you're just like, I got to get out.
Do you have 6 brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
That is a lot of family in a trailer park. And I'm sure you, like, everybody just you're like, I've got to get out of it.
Yeah,
anybody like, oh, I can, and that's a lot of people like, the Grizz. He was like, this college shit isn't working. And like, I'm going away. And I still say to this day, everybody who's been in some sort of service is like a solid person, like a solid dude.
Oh, there's skill sets there that I think make them better humans.
Well,
Well, nowadays, it's with the way technology is too. Military is like a great stepping stone. Back in my day, it was pretty much grunt work. When I got out of the military, they had this thing called TAP class, Transitions Assistant Program, and everybody said the same thing. Everybody said to me, they're going back to college, I'm moving back home, or law enforcement. Those are the only three things I heard. I was the last guy to stand up, and I go, I'm gonna be a stand up. And the lady goes, excuse me? I go, I'm gonna be a stand up. And literally, this is Monday. TAP class is Monday through Friday. She was trying to talk me out of it. And then Wednesday came, and I invited her to a show, and I said, hey, I'm doing Smokey's Bar and Grill tonight. Why don't you come through? So she came through Wednesday, saw me perform, and Thursday she pulled me aside. She goes, I don't think I've ever said this to anybody. She goes, but you're making the right decision.
Oh, that's great.
And it wasn't the jokes. She goes, I saw it in your eyes. This is what you want to be doing. Like the passion in your eyes. She goes, I saw it. She goes, I'm being very blunt. I am here to try to convince guys to stay in. You know what I mean? We need bodies right now.
Yeah.
She goes, but I can't. She goes, I saw it on stage. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Kudos to her for doing her job correctly, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
she goes, I've never told nobody this, but you're making the right decision. And I realized I was making a decision that had no benefits. You don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
You're just like jumping without a net. You're jumping without a parachute, really.
Yeah.
So she was like.
And you can't blame her for when someone says they want to be a stand-up, them being like, don't do that. Like,
right.
Because it's a hard business to get into.
Yeah.
It was like my mom with music. Like I wanted to be a musician, and she majored in music, and that's the road she went down. She made no money. So when I decided I wanted to do that, of course she talked me out of it. Don't do that shit.
Gary, I read somewhere, I don't know if it's still true, but you were the only white guy to ever host Comic View. And how did you, I guess, be known for like, hey, I'm a white comedian that all the black community likes, because that's where you search your name, you do any research, that's what it seems like. Everybody's like, oh, Gary Owen, he's beloved by the black community. Yeah. And it's like how. How do you get labeled as that? Like, what is the story behind that, or is it just slow roll? It
just happened, man. If I knew Spanish, I would have went on Telemundo. You know what I mean? And even my reality show was on BET. We pitched my show to like 6 different networks. But BET's the one that bought it in the room. Like, we want to do it. Can't explain it. It just is what it is.
It just eventually happened, like where because even back when you were telling that college story, like you're friends with black people, and that's not a weird thing to me at all. But it seems like it was just that you were able to relate more with black guys maybe than or they were like cool with you. I don't know.
I think with me, I never bought into what the media was telling me about people. So I think if you don't grow up around black people, and I didn't grow up around a lot of black people,
sorry, there's mosquitoes in here, and I'm trying to grab them out of the air.
If you listen to what the media says, I could see how maybe a white person is around black people, might be a little intimidated, or I'm not sure if I should go over there. With me, one black guy drove the ice cream truck to the trailer park. His name was Sonny. Cool as shit. If you was a nickel short, he'd still let you get a nutty buddy. You know what I mean? So one of my impressions is, oh shit. And then my babysitter when I was little was a black dude, and he had like 4 girls. He didn't have any boys. So I'd always go over there, and he was my babysitter. He lived in the same apartment complex as us.
Yeah.
So all the black guys I knew at those formidable years were cool. So I never had a bad experience. So then when I joined the Navy, my bunkmate in boot camp was a black dude, Copera Washington from South Carolina. I'll never forget it. Got some pictures sent from home. He's on a John Deere tractor. And I go, you on vacation? He goes, nah, I live on a farm. And I go, black people don't live on farms. In Ohio, black people live in the city. He goes, what? He called his brother from Mississippi, his brother from Alabama, his brother from Georgia. Like, what'd you just say to me, Gary? I go, black guys don't live on farms. And they did like a do the right thing and go, this dude. And they just all showed me all these pictures in the country. And I went, mind blown. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so I just would always ask questions with no agenda. You know,
I
was really just asking. I was curious. And what I got to know is, at the core, you know, people always want to share their experiences.
Yep,
You know, and if they know this guy isn't judging me, he's inquisitive, you know, I just gravitated. I don't know. Black guys were always cool with me.
Yeah.
But white guys were cool too. Don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to go and I like black girls, I'd ask the black guys, yo, where the sisters at?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're married to a black woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is weird that, like, I don't know even know how to say that. It's weird that you would come here or any radio station or any place you go, and people are like, "How is it that you're cool with black people?" You know, like it's a weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
But as I was asking
like,
that question,
people are people and humans. Like,
of course.
I don't think of anything like.
Maybe Tom's a little envious.
No. Well,
But I am a white guy. I'm a middle-aged white dude too.
Yeah.
You know, and I act like a middle-aged white dude. And there's a lot of times that's the thing. Like, why is it? I don't have tattoos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's the difference between like anything I try to say, it's gonna come off racist.
I'm not Machine Gun Kelly.
I know.
I'm not Machine Gun Kelly.
I'm not trying to say that. I just think it is a weird thing because I think a lot of people do want to ask you that question. You probably asked it a million times. Like, how is it that you're?
How
are you in with the cool
it's the
black
unknown.
folk? You know,
and then, you know what? That's probably why I don't have a Netflix special. Is because the powers that be, they don't know why. And if you don't know why, you're like, then I can't figure it out. So instead of being like, well, he's got a fan base, let's give him the special. It's more like, we don't know how to market it. Instead of just marketing it as a funny special, they feel like, how do we market this white guy to that knows black people? Just market it as a funny special. And I think
then let people go find it.
Right. I think that's the only logic I can come up with. You know what I mean?
It seems to me like you nailed it. It's a clash between like new school and old school kind of.
They're like, what do we do with it?
Yeah,
how do we market it? Just market it.
Because it is sort of a fascinating thing. Even the question is fascinating that we would want to ask. Like we look at it, we look at you. You're up there fucking effortlessly with the Breakfast Club. I mean, just. It seems like you don't see that with most white dudes.
if you have hosts that do their due diligence and know the guest, then the interview should be it shouldn't be awkward because the host should be like, okay, you're from here. You do this. You do this. You do this. You know. When he said, you know, he rattled off all these stats on me. I go, what?
We try to read
for 6 years.
a little bit about you.
You know what I mean?
It is nice.
How did he know that?
It is nice to be a little prepared.
Speaking of the Breakfast Club, you did this bit with them where you dressed like Tekashi 69, who I still don't really know who that is.
I don't think anybody does.
Jail
I don't think
now.
he does.
But how did that even come about? Like
he came on a Thursday. And I wasn't familiar with him. And I was just watching, on YouTube. And I was like, I enjoyed the interview. I watched it after 60 minutes. I go, that was a good interview. And whether you agree or disagree, it was a good interview.
Right.
And it flowed.
Yeah.
And I like the give and take between him and Charlemagne because they were digging on each other. But there still was like, okay, he kind of knows what he's talking about. And Charlemagne knows what he's talking about. So I called my manager. I said, yo, I'm on the Breakfast Club Tuesday, right? They go, yeah. And I go, is there any way I can get a makeup artist in a short amount of time that can come over to my room at 5 a.m. on Tuesday morning and do me up?
Draw the tattoos.
So they found one that works in TV and film, legit makeup artist. Yeah, and
the tattoo work they did on you was pretty freaking good.
She was amazing.
It's legit.
So she pulled all these pictures of Tekashi, went to the costume store, and she drew all those tattoos on me. Some were stickers, some were drawn on. But the drawback was it literally took a week to get
the
face tattoos off of me. The spider webs and the 6'9" was on. There was getting rid of that for a week.
Yeah.
Like literally, people thought I really was tatted like that. Like I'll never forget. I walked through the Bronx and somebody goes, "Damn, G, you a real one." Like, no, I'm totally not. It's just fake. It's coming off eventually. I had to pick my daughter up from school, and she was eating it up. She goes, "Dad, come in and get me. Like, come in to the school." Because she went to like a private school Christian. Here to pick up my daughter.
Did you ever hear any feedback from the
he sent me a DM when he saw it. He goes, I fucks with you, cuz. That's
all
it was. That was good enough for me.
Is this good or bad? I don't know.
Yo, because a lot of people was like, clout chasing and this and that. And I go, no, this was just the SNL skit, basically.
You're just
it was
having fun.
Hip-hop SNL skit. I was having fun with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't trying to get a rise on anybody. I saw him. He had a unique look. It was, and I thought I could take a spin on it, and I did, and it took off, went viral, and it you know, I'd helped. Honestly, there's people that still stop me from the Tekashi 6ix9ine Breakfast Club interview. They have no idea I've been in movies. It's like, yo, you're doing the drugs like Tekashi. I was like, that's it.
The silliest things, right?
Well, that goes back to like viral videos and like some comics. I know Burt Kreischer, it happened with him. Like when he had his story about the Russian and the train story.
Yeah.
When that
machine story.
The machine story. I think it was from his Showtime special, but whatever it was that clip and that story that went viral. And then, like, he told me, is like, you know, that helps sell out clubs for the next year. And just from that, and people knew me from that. And so, like, those clips.
Yeah, people want to see. I'll throw it up on
ended
Twitch.
Like those little clips you put out of stand-up specials or whatever, sometimes end up blowing up people's career, or people see you from that, and you're like, God, I've worked my entire life, and then that's what you see me for, just like the Tekashi 6ix9ine thing.
Yeah.
It's like internet's powerful.
Translate.
Yeah.
I like I said, putting bits on YouTube, man. I put one up probably 8 months ago about me going to a Jamaica strip club. The one time I went to Jamaica and went to a strip club. It sat for 3 months with like 50,000 views, and now it's got like 1 million. And it happened like overnight. And then I started looking at some of the comments, and it was all people from Jamaica. So clearly somebody in Jamaica shared it with another person in Jamaica, and that's where most of the views came from, was Jamaica.
Really?
Oh my God, you're the king of Jamaican YouTube.
But it was funny because a lot of them was upset.
You're the white king of Jamaican YouTube.
A lot of people was upset because they were like, that's not how Jamaicans are. Because I talked about a guy picked me up, and I ordered a limo, but it was a Kia. Like, Jamaican limousines are clearly Kias. Like, oh, there was a goat in the back seat. There's not goats in our cars. I go, I know. I'm exaggerating, guys. Like, the people was really upset.
Remember the one we got it, and I kid you not, we got in this van, and a dude hit a button, and then a disco ball came down out of the center.
In Jamaica?
Yeah, and then a fucking, remember the TV flipped down.
I went to Jamaica a different time.
Oh, it was like a 32-inch TV that he had mounted, and it just came down. He's like, "Would you like to watch some shows, man?" I'm like,
why is your Jamaican accent Russian?
Yeah, I know. or Irish, right? Watch some shows. Yeah, it was weird.
Speaking of people like saying like that's not how Jamaica, like how do you deal with everybody's a little more sensitive than they were 10 years ago, and have you ever
coming out of that?
Have you ever gotten any backlash or anything you've said on stage or anything?
Oh yeah, I had about 2 years ago I got a special needs cousin, and I said the word retarded in my act, and I said I got a retarded cousin. I didn't know you're not allowed to say that word anymore.
Yeah.
I just said on your podcast.
That's fine.
But I literally, Maria Shriver called.
Really? What did she say?
Because I did a bit about the Special Olympics. My cousin used to be in the Special Olympics, and she was. It's not. I'm exaggerating the truth, but it's not a lie.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I changed her name. I say in my act, it's my cousin Tina. That's not her real name. Right. So they tried to call in and be like, what happened was this one guy that writes for BuzzFeed. He's special needs guy, but he does an article. He got wind of my special. Right, the special was 3 years old, by the way, when they finally got upset about it. It's been out again. Not calling you slow, but you didn't help when you got mad 3 years after the special came out.
Yeah.
And he wrote an article, and then it took off. Like some people saw the article, then Twitter there was a big uproar. It got to the point where they flew me, the Special Olympics and Special Needs flew me to D.C. to meet with 4 special needs people, right, to explain to me how I should tell my jokes. You know what I mean? They're trying to tell me what I'm so, and they all have like advocates and handlers like in the room with them, right? So I told them, I go, it's your fault. I don't blame the 4 people I'm talking to. It's your fault. I said, because you keep plowing into their brain that they're less than, and you keep saying they can't defend themselves, where clearly they can, because I'm talking to them right now. I was like, and I don't look at anybody like I'm better than or worse than. Everybody to me is equal. It's equal footing when it comes to jokes.
Yeah.
If I don't talk about you, to me, that's a disservice. Because that's saying, oh, then I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to talk about you.
Sure.
And they didn't get that. I said, no, everybody's, I can make fun of everybody. And all that, they wanted me to literally put in writing, I will never say the word retard again, and I will not talk about special needs people. I said, I can't do that. I said, what I can do is take your feelings into account. If I say another joke, I said, because I am listening to you. I hear you. Maybe I could have said it different. I said, but you guys are taking it too serious. It's a joke. And I didn't talk about a group of people. I talked about one person, my cousin.
Yeah.
And she's not mad. Her mom isn't mad.
Right.
And this is what I got out of it. This is what I think. So many parents of special needs people sent me DMs and reached out to me. And a lot of them are angry, and they don't want to hear my side of the story, or they don't want to talk. They just want to get their point across. And what I think happens is when you have a special needs kid, you know, you probably lived your life right, and you're a good parent, and you're a good person. And now you have a special needs kid, and this is a lifelong commitment. 18, they're not leaving, right? And you're frustrated. Who do you take your frustration out on? It can't be them. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
You can't blame God. It's not his fault. So here's a comedian talking about him. You are not going to talk about my child. I'm not talking about your child. But I think it's just a frustration. And this is just my own take on it. You're frustrated.
Yeah.
And you get a chance to vent. So I'm going to vent on the comedian that talked about it. That's what I took out of it. Because the one lady got upset with me because she said, I have a special needs son, and he's the biggest blessing, and he's given me so much joy in my life. And I hope karma bites you in your ass. And one day you have a child with special needs. I said, so you want me to have joy and the greatest blessing of my life? Is that what you want? She just texted back. She sent back, fuck you. That's all she said. I was like, you just told me he's the greatest joy and blessing, but you want me to have that?
Yeah. You know? You're like cursing me with the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My cousin isn't upset.
Oh yeah. Also, that you bring up a good point. There's a sense of narcissism when people get mad about you talking about something that has nothing to do with that. You know, like that person that's getting mad, but them saying, "Well, I'm like the person you're talking about, so you offended me," or you know, I'm mad that you were talking about me. And you're like, I wasn't talking about you at all. Like,
no.
But it's like why are you like so narcissist to believe?
Plus, why did it even get that far? I mean,
it's
it used
literally
to
like,
be like
it's like a black person saying white people can't dance, and all the white guys that can dance, like, what? What? All of a sudden, they're sending videos of them backhands battling and stuff. No, I didn't say you. I meant in general. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking, it got to the point where I was getting picketed. Like, there were protests outside my show.
Really?
How did you handle that, though? Because I think a lot of people...
I ate it up because they don't know my fan base is black. They messed up. The first, and it's a true story, the first place it happened was at Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. Holds about 7,000, right? So I got to the arena early because I wanted to see if this is really going to happen. And they were out there. There was about 200 people with their picket signs, said #bully, #we are not a punchline. And they're out front, right?
Yeah.
Trying to block people coming in. They didn't know all these black women was coming to my show. When I tell you, it got a little aggressive because you got to realize when it's a theater arena show, black women especially, they got their hair done, they got their nails done, they got a new outfit. It's an event. They're trying to be seen at the event. Right?
Bubba's black grandmother called it, they got their after 5 on.
Dude, they're getting in.
Fancy tan.
So you got people trying to be like, you can't go in there. He said that we're retarded. You know, the black women are like, your ass going to be retarded about 30 seconds. You don't get out of my goddamn way.
Not sensitive.
I literally saw people just drop the picket sign.
I paid money for the tickets, right? You know, like, I'm going to see the show. Get out
literally, there was some of the people just dropped their picket signs. Fuck! This didn't work out like we thought.
It's like the people that I think are the most sensitive, I'm making a generalization, but I think haven't maybe gone through the same hardships when they were younger or whatever, so they get ultra like pissed or sensitive about things that, you know, it seems like the people that actually have gone through some horrible shit growing up or some racism or like, you know, there's a million things you can go through that are bad, a little more tougher, and then
it's hard to be offended when you grow up.
You're just like,
this is what's amazing.
Bullshit, you know
what's amazing? When you come at somebody angry and go off on them, obviously our defense mechanisms go up. But I did also have DMs and emails from people that were very logical, and I had good interactions with a few people about this subject. Like one mother had a special needs kid. She explained to me the challenges she goes through and why she can get frustrated, and she tried to explain why some people were angry with me. But it was open dialogue, and I think there was a mutual respect between the two of us because I responded to her.
Yeah.
And we had a nice give and take. You know, I tried to give her my point. I'm a comedian, and then she told me her point. It was good give and take, and I think we came to an understanding because she didn't come at me like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
How dare you? She just went, Gary, I saw your bit. She goes, and granted, I knew you weren't talking about my son, but I did feel a certain kind of way when I saw it. And I told her, I said, well, ma'am, you always had the option to turn me off. You always do. You know what I mean? And I didn't say your son's name. I didn't go after your son. I have a cousin, and this did happen. I'm talking about, and I said, I always told her, I go, it didn't happen word for word, verbatim. Stand-up is like your life on HGH and steroids. You put a little bit extra on it to make it a little bit funnier.
Yeah.
And we had a good dialogue, so I don't want to be like everyone was attacking me. There were people that were open-minded to everything. You know,
were they mainly just mad that you used the R word? And
I used the R word, and I did a joke about the Special Olympics, and that was the big thing, the Special Olympics part, because there was people like literally they were like, we pulled our records. He didn't volunteer. He was lying about that. I go, it was the local Special Olympics that I volunteered. It wasn't the national one you see on TV.
Yeah.
We were behind a church with ribbons and like balloon animals and like an ice cream man came. Yeah. It wasn't the big one.
And also, I still have a problem with people referencing like old material people have done because guess what? Times change and people evolve and do different people and there's things that were not that were considered normal years ago that are not now, and we all understand that. But now we live in a world where all that shit is on video and there's record of it, and we can look at it in the past and hold you accountable for the present, which is insane. It doesn't even make sense. Like,
it kind of goes back to
some of it does. Obviously, like if you were a Nazi in World War II, you're like, hey, we're still gonna fuck you over if they even exist anymore. But like, you shouldn't have done. The horrendous shit. But with jokes and things like that, especially with comedians, it's insane that we hold comedians to such a high accountability for what their jokes were. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think we respond to the quote unquote trolls on the internet because when people like you, they just be like, funny shit or haha, it's quick, you know what I mean? When they don't like you, it's a fucking thesis. They'll explain and break down why they don't like you and why you offended them. Where people like you, there's like great show tonight. It's real quick if they like you, but when it's not, it's goddamn thesis. And that's why we respond to the trolls and they get under your skin as comedians because they're like, dude, he really broke down. Now I feel like I have to break down why you should not be offended by that.
Yeah.
I get caught into that sometimes, and I have to just, I'm getting better just distancing myself from all of it and just understanding that the internet, social media,
well, think about it. If somebody says, I love your podcast, right? You're just going to respond, thanks.
Yep.
Or appreciate it. Keep listening. If somebody breaks down why they don't like it, you're not going to be like, don't listen. You're going to respond. If you get to the point where you're going to respond, you're going to explain in detail why you're wrong.
And go back and read it. Make sure it's right. Yeah.
For real.
But I'm getting better at just being like, not even responding to the good things now, which is kind of sad. But
what sucks, too, is like there's a complete difference in my mind between trolls and people that actually have a constructive criticism towards you. And the problem is it's got muddied between both. So, like, sometimes the trolls are they are out there to elicit a response from that person. Like, they're saying stuff to get under your skin so that, and then once they did, they won. And then there's people that actually have constructive criticism towards something, and then now we're labeling those people as trolls too, and we're like, no, there's a difference between, like having a conversation with someone like, hey, I didn't like this, or I think you should work on this or whatever, and then trolls trying to just say something that they probably don't even believe, but just to fuck with the person on the internet.
I would agree with that.
But that kind of, it sucks for the constructive criticism part, because I've seen it with our own group and stuff. Like, if someone says something, and the BDMs are awesome. Those are our subscribers that subscribe to our show. And but if there's a BDM if it has like some constructive criticism towards me, the other people will attack him and be like, troll, and I'll be like, wait, that's not really what he said. It was trolling.
Well, it's funny you say that, because my podcast, me and my wife was on a couple weeks ago, and we're on every week, but we had an episode where I was short with her. I watched it back, and I go, that's kind of rude. I was
you
very
guys got
short.
into it a little bit, huh?
I didn't realize it till I watched it back.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And a guy even said, he goes, yo, I enjoy your guys' podcast. I listen every week, but Gary, you seem kind of rude, and you was short. Very short with your wife, right? Like, all her responses, he was like, he was like attacking her. And somebody, what you said, they go, I didn't take that. I thought it was constructive criticism he's giving his wife. And I had to respond, and I listened to the guy, and his comment, and I went, you're right. I was rude. I wasn't purposely being rude, but I watched, I go, man, I came across as kind of a dick. I was kind of rude, and I had to like literally like go with outside of myself and be like, man, I gotta work on that.
Yeah.
I do my podcast so much by myself. When my wife comes on, I don't want to overtalk, because you overtalk, it gets mumbled.
Sure.
And sometimes we didn't have the chemistry yet. Sometimes where she's on the air and she's not as experienced as I am.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll be like, you can't be talking yet. I'm not done with my thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're over talking me.
Yeah.
And then people perceive it as like
I'm being rude, but we're laughing about it once we're done off the air. We're cracking up. But I was like, you know what? I was sure that I was rude, and I learned from it.
Yeah.
You know,
we just gave our wives their own show, so we don't have to deal with it.
Smart
Yeah,
shit.
they got their own show. It's called Two Wife Crew.
Well,
and they just sit in here and talk about the size of our dicks and how we can't fuck. It's a great show. Everyone should check it out.
I wish there was a way to
the last episode. Whoa, brutal.
To verify non-troll, like like imagine
You
on
mean like
Twitter,
a little, like a verified badge.
like a troll with literally a crossbuster through it, and then you've been vetted that you're not a troll.
You had to earn it,
and then you can respond to like negatively to people with a like, hey, I didn't really think this was funny or whatever it is, but then
I'm not troll verified.
yeah, because that actually can be useful, you know.
So, but what if I'm a verified non-troll though? But then I start trolling.
Well,
are they gonna take
it away? Oh,
okay,
yeah. Because if they could prove what you did was trolling,
you're making things really complicated.
I know. Well, the internet, because then it just becomes, well, I'm going to ignore everything negative, which is probably a good thing because to dwell on it is bad for you. But then you don't get anything but the positive, and that's
not good
no way
either.
to live either.
Yeah,
then you start living in a world like where people get in this bubble. Extreme celebrities do this. So you're fucking Tom Cruise, and everybody around you is telling you how great you are, and like is sheltering you from everything, and then you become a fucking weirdo.
I can't wait to get to that point.
Yeah, it did sound good.
I don't want nobody being honest with me. Gary, that was awesome.
You're right.
That was awesome. Awesome again, Gary. Dude, my friends are the best. My friends are so uplifting.
You're right. It is an awesome way to live, but it turns you into a fucking weirdo.
Dude, I hate when people say that, when celebs and they say, I just miss my privacy. I go, no, you don't. Shut the fuck. I was like, shut the fuck up. I know you love your alone time. That's why there's hotel rooms, and that's why that's why a lot of times, you know, I think celebs get the huge houses because that's the place where they can let their feet down. I said, but please don't tell me you got an entertainment business and now you miss your privacy. Because if people didn't know you, then you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
So I believe me, there's people that I'll be out to dinner and they'll just like interrupt dinner, and you know it's rude. But what's the alternative? I'm anonymous, and nobody knows I'm a stand-up, and it sucks.
I'm not rich.
Right.
Also, they like now with Shipped, and like there's a bunch of
you can hide
companies. Well, the funny thing is like people like celebrities be like, I miss just being able to go to the grocery store without being bothered, and like, no, you don't. Like guess what? There's companies now that shop for you because people don't want to fucking go to the grocery store anymore.
Uber Eats is the best thing ever.
Yeah. So there's
just bring me everything. I'll just stay in here.
Regular Americans that are not famous are opting not to go to the grocery store is not that good. So if that's the downfall of your fame,
you wake up, I can't wait to go to the grocery store today. Yeah. Let's go, guys.
Also, I believe like you could do like. Every celebrity can put a fucking hat and glasses on and, you know, maybe a big overcoat and go in a small town to wherever they want.
Let's
and probably
be honest,
won't know.
There's literally like 50 Uber celebrities that can't go out. Most of them can.
Yeah.
I can easily go to Publix right now and go shopping.
Yeah.
And so could 90% of the comics out there. Literally, the comics that can't go to the grocery store is probably Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle.
Sure. Louis C.K. now for other reasons.
Maybe it depends. I bet Louis C.K. could.
Yeah, you're right.
Really, it's a handful.
He looks like a normal fat dad. There's guys that
just look at the price of pork chops.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
There are certain celebrities that are like so distinctive that it would be hard to disguise.
Steve
themselves.
Buscemi. Easy to recognize.
Tom Hanks. Actually,
Russell Peters could easily go.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Sebastian could easily go to a grocery store. There's very few. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very few that can't actually go out without being stopped everywhere.
Well, Gary, here's a question we ask all the comedians that come in here. Since you mentioned that, we always ask them about a bad gig they did for the money, maybe earlier on in their career. Your manager's like,
Sunday.
Hey,
no, for real, Sunday.
Sunday at the Improv.
Sunday, I did a corporate event for the Miami Heat.
Oh, really?
No shit.
The problem with the event was they never had a comedian before. And so you had the Heat players and people that were spending $40,000 a plate for this charity event because it was for Mickey Harrison and Pat Riley. It was part of their deal.
Gotcha.
So there's 150 people at this event, and I go up to a cold audience. They're still eating dinner.
Yeah.
And I got nothing for 30 minutes.
Oh.
I'm talking fucking nothing.
Was it in a fancy ballroom?
The Fillmore.
Okay.
It was in a side ballroom. And when I say from jump, and my first joke, and I see Udonis Haslem is here. He's doing a lot for the community. I said, Udonis Haslem, he has a pizza spot now. He opened up a Starbucks. I said, because nothing screams chai latte like Udonis Haslem. And I was like, can you imagine Udonis?
Funny joke.
Right. I said, can you imagine Udonis being a guest barista at his own Starbucks? Like, yeah, I like a caramel macchiato. You gonna get a coffee? Sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna go coffee.
That's fine. Nothing. Really nothing.
Crickets, right?
Oh God.
And then I did some jokes about the Heat and Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley, and it was crickets the whole way through. And literally, I just went, I've never wanted to be Jesse Smollett so bad in my life right now.
Did it break it up?
Dude, I didn't get a laugh the whole 30 minutes, but I stayed up there. And it was crazy because afterwards, people was like, yo, that shit was funny. Yo, we enjoyed it. I was like this, but I was far away from the guys, and they had I literally was 100 feet from the audience.
Oh my
God! And it wasn't built. And
they're eating. Rich people are the worst audience too. Like,
the worst. God. But the players was the funniest because they go, "We're so glad Gary was on stage." They go, "Because we weren't bothered." Their focus was on me and not. Let me get a picture with Dwayne. Let me get a picture with Pat. It was just they could actually eat dinner in peace for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was just like.
And
I even look back on it, like 10 years ago, I would have got mad and frustrated. I started going off on the audience in a fun way. You know what I mean? I go, God, you guys fucking suck. You know what I mean? But it was, it is what it was. It was an L.
You're right about rich people. Like, we've done a couple of hosting gigs where you have to host for like these big award ceremonies. And there's billionaires in the audience, like people that own the soccer team here in town.
And they paid, $1,000 a plate or whatever it is, and they're eating, and then there's soccer stars and stuff, and you're trying to do jokes, and no one gives a fuck. And then also, like, there's something
weird. And you can see phones, you can see phones
I can hear the plate. I can hear the forks on the plate.
Yeah.
Monday, but, Sunday was, is what it is. Happened.
You know what's gonna end this.
Listen, Pat Riley was great. He was cracking up afterwards. You got, he was talking to him, and I've done so much for the Heat in the past. My track record is pretty solid over there, so that even they knew.
Yeah,
and guys would come there like, dude, corporate gigs are the worst.
Like they knew it. Yeah,
you know what I mean? And they were like the players were like so appreciative. Like, dude, I'm so glad you were here. I'm so fucking glad you were here, dude. I was able to eat dinner without getting bothered.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So if there's anything.
But if you want to ask me the worst, probably, since I've been a headliner, was Vanderbilt University 2001.
University gigs, really?
This was worse than a college gig because it was a thing called Springfest, and it was in a field. And it was from 4 to midnight. And they had every half hour a different band went up. And there wasn't rhyme or reason. It was like a rap group would go up, and then a punk group would go up, then a rock group. It wasn't like a set theme. So I got there at like 3:30 thinking I'm hosting the event. They go, no, you're on from 10 to 10:30. I said, at night? I go, hold on. So we're in a field. You're going to have 6 hours of music and then throw a comedian up. A field where they're going to be liquored up and fucked up by them, right? So I told the guy before I went up there, I said, I already had in my head L. This is going to be an L, right? So I told the kid that was supposed to bring me on stage, I said, listen, man, you can't just bring me, because the bands literally say goodnight, and then there was 2 stages right next to each other, so there was no like leeway. It was like goodnight, other stage lights up. This stage goes dark. This band starts. They start setting up for the next band on the other stage. So it was 2 stages right next to each other. So this band goes goodnight. Bing, I'm supposed to go up, right? So I told the kid, I said, dude, you got to go out there, throw out some of these Frisbees and T-shirts you guys got, bring the crowd into the stage. I said, tell him we got a comedian, right? I got to get him close. So he goes, literally, this is verbatim. And this is how long the show went. Hey, guys. Oh, we got a fucking comedian. He's funny as shit. Gary Owen.
No.
This is the whole show. I walk on stage. What's up, Vanderbilt? Suck my dick, comedian. Guy runs up to the stage with a big tumbler of beer and chugs it on me.
Oh, right? God.
I go, good night. What's going on, Vanderbilt? Suck my dick, comedian. comedian. Good night.
That was it.
I walked off the stage. I'm backstage. The mic's still hot. It's still in my hand. I don't know it's hot. The girl's crying that booked me. I'm like, sorry, this is not representing our university and shit. The one dude is like, you gotta go back up there. We paid you for 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, show's over. I got beer all over me. If I go back up there, two things gonna happen. One, I'm getting booed. Or two, I'm gonna go in on everybody so hard they're gonna want to fight. That's the only two things gonna happen right now. There's no laughter, it's gone, right?
Booing or fight.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I got my check. I'm driving back to my hotel room. And I'm a little, so reality starts to kick in. I'm like, I'm a little upset. I'm like, the motherfucker threw beer on me.
Yeah. I would be pissed too. Yeah.
Fuck Vanderbilt. I'm glad they suck in basketball and football. I'm going off and shit. And then right before I got to the hotel, I go, you know what? I'm so fucking glad that guy threw beer on me. Because that was going to be a long 30 minutes. And it was an hour.
Yeah. You're right. Because a lot of comedians.
It's like getting a phone call at a bad date.
So listen, any comic listening to this podcast, have your assistant or your homeboy on the side. Put the big thing of beer.
Give him a signal.
Suck my dick, beer throw, please.
Because there have been a lot of comedians that have told stories like, I got up on stage and they fucking paid me for half an hour and I did it and it was the worst and no one's laughing or people are booing.
Yeah, like Pedro Francisco was in here and he's talking about how the stage was set up wrong and it was sinking in the mud and then bees were stinging his face. You know, like stuff like that.
But they still go through.
He's still doing it, but he's like swatting bees.
But you're right. They do it because they're like, they weren't going to give me the money unless I did 30 minutes, but you have a good out with the beer. You're like, hey, I got assaulted. So,
and he got the money.
Yeah.
I got the money.
That's the best one.
Happened. You paying me.
That's the best one.
I was like this, I'm Black Famous, right?
Gary,
speaking of that, one show tonight, 2 tomorrow, 2 the day after that. It's Friday, Saturday are 2 shows, and then 1 on Sunday.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
Hey, thanks so much for taking the time, man.
Yeah, never again.
We appreciate it. Well, after I had to kill that fly during the show, I mean, that's impressive.
Where can people find you on social media?
At Gary Owen Comedy is everything.
Okay, cool.
Everything's on at Gary Owen Comedy.
There you go. Well, thanks for doing it, man. And guys, we'll see you tomorrow.